Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm super glad to have you here. In today's video we will be talking about some breastfeeding tips and strategies for our new moms out there, and also for any nursing mother, even if it's not her first child nursing. There is tips, strategies and important information that I would like you to know in regards to the breastfeeding process of nursing a new baby, which might be helpful in your journey along the way. So it doesn't really matter if you just gave birth or if you are nursing a 6-month-old, for example. All the tips that I will mention in this video will be super helpful, because not only are they linked to my own personal experience as well as the experience of many mums from my family and friends group, they will also be linked to scientific studies and tried and tested remedies that are super safe for mom and baby all together. So let's get started. So for new mothers, it can be a shock to discover that breastfeeding, which actually seems so natural, is not necessarily easy. It can be very challenging, and one of the most challenging things that I faced during the early breastfeeding stage, or when I did decide to nurse my first baby, was that you'll be given advice. You will be actually bombarded with advice from your midwife, from your baby health nurse, the family doctor, the hospital, the friends, and the family, most importantly. But you need to understand, as a new mom, and if you are not a new mom and this is maybe your second or your third child, you need to understand that as well, because every newborn, every baby has their own unique, brand new breastfeeding experience. You can basically not depend on your previous nursing experience with your previous baby and apply it to your new baby, because each baby reacts differently. There has been many conditions where everything's going all smooth and nice, but there hasn't been the opportunity to embark on a breastfeeding experience because the baby has refused. There's been latching problems, there's been many other things out there, and I felt like this could all been improved and changed to the better if mums would have been educated on the topic through the reliable sources. So the first thing to know is that when you first start to breastfeed, your breasts start to produce regular milk supply after a few days of birth. And that's just what I've noticed as well. They usually start around day 2, day 3. Sometimes with my third child, it actually started at day 5, which was quite rare for moms in my family to start that around the day 5 mark, because some have started producing milk a few weeks before they gave birth. But it all depends on the mother, and it all depends on the pregnancy and the child itself. So one thing that I also wanted you to know, that it can feel quite painful once the milk has started to come in. So your baby may have trouble latching on, and that's okay. It's a learning process, and that's something that requires patience and requires understanding from your side as well. So many other factors do affect your baby's feeds and your own comfort. When problems do arise, like nipple soreness or maybe a blocked milk duct, it helps to know a few traditional tricks under your sleeve. So what are we going to talk about? Well, here are some important tips and tricks I'd like you to know in regards to nursing. So first of all, if you feel uncomfortably full, you can express a little milk before feeding. All you have to do is just press repeatedly with your fingers above and below the areola, which is the dark area around the nipple, and this will basically take off some of the pressure and allow your baby to latch more easily. The smell and the taste of the milk will also encourage the baby to latch on. Another important tip is that if your breasts are really full and there is no milk coming out, this can be quite painful, and don't worry, because the solution is quite easily. First of all, one solution is to apply a warm, damp compress for several minutes. So basically, if you have a wet face washer, you can use that. If you have a cotton fabric, you can also use that. It actually holds a lot of water and it retains the heat, so you can soak the face washer in hot water and then lay it over your breast area when you are in the bath. This will help greatly in releasing the pressure and helping for the milk to flow. Another thing that I also wanted to talk about was basically in brief, using a breast pump if your baby falls asleep while you are feeding, or if you're finishing feeding and one or the other breast still feels uncomfortably full. It is still okay to pump off some milk, and this will really help to relieve the tension. So not only will it help relieve the tension, what is the bonus about this is it also encourages milk production. So if you are in the process of trying to increase your supply, this is something that you could really try, is to pump milk after nursing, even if it's just 5 minutes on each breast, 10 minutes on each breast, whatever it is, or just maybe move gradually pump milk for maybe like 3 minutes for the first week, and then gradually increase that to 5 minutes and then to 15 minutes, and this will be a great thing for you to do if you are trying to encourage more milk production. If you also want to store milk as well for the upcoming weeks or months, it's a great way to use a breast pump for that. Another thing that I also wanted to say is that you shouldn't make it a routine thing, because for some moms it may lead them to produce more milk than they need, and it's okay if you have a storage area and you have everything organized in terms of the storage bags where you will store the milk safely. But for the mums out there who overproduce, this can cause some problems in the future, so you need to be wary of that. You need to understand, are you the overproducer of milk, or do you want to increase your supply? And usually in most of my breastfeeding experiences, I've always been the underproducer, which this whole pumping tactic has helped me greatly in increasing my supply. Another thing that I also wanted to say is that remember to breastfeed often, especially in the first couple of weeks after the baby has been born. So breastfeed often, day and night. In fact, you should also feed about 8 to 12 times during a 24-hour period. So basically what this will do is that it will keep your breast from filling up with too much milk, and it will also help to feed your baby every time they seem to be interested in eating. So you want to encourage that as well. Don't overfeed. Make sure you use your intuition as well. You jot down if you have a breastfeeding or a baby log would be really helpful in this case, where you would use the baby log to just write down when was the last time you breastfeed, how much did you pump, how long did the baby breastfeed for. This is super essential, and I really recommend it for the new moms out there. And if you do not know where to find it, there's a lot of resources out there on Pinterest, on the internet, and I will also, in the next week or so, I will also link a printable, a free printable for a baby logbook in the description box below, so stay tuned. Another thing that I also wanted to point out was the importance of not stressing, and the importance of trying to relax and keeping away from feeling overloaded, burnt out, because it can have a huge toll on your ability as a mom to breastfeed. So fatigue turns off the letdown reflex. So basically, the more exhausted you are, the less milk you will be able to produce. So that's basically common sense when it comes to that, because stress increases cortisol and it just blocks off the milk. So it's important for you to learn to relax, learn relaxation techniques. This can be super effective in overcoming the problems in relation to breastfeeding that could have been faced due to stress. Also, nap as much as you can. Nap when the baby is napping. Forget the dishes, forget the housework. It can literally wait, and get as much help as you can during the first few weeks to a month. So another thing that I also wanted to mention in regards to breastfeeding success, and we are now 9 minutes on the video, so I would like to also mention some important tips and tricks in order to ensure a successful breastfeeding journey. So no matter how long you decide to breastfeed, if it was 6 months or if it was 2 years, these tips will really help you. So first of all, using a special pillow, so a horseshoe shaped cushion specifically designed for breastfeeding mothers can be super helpful, because what it does is it fits around your midriff and it provides a convenient armrest when you're breastfeeding your baby. Breastfeeding pillows are also available from shops such as Mother's Direct, Toys R Us. I know they have a breastfeeding section, and many of the local shops, as well as online as well. So another thing is, make sure that your baby is not too warm, and this is specifically true for infants, really small babies, because if infants are too warmly wrapped while breastfeeding, they're more likely to doze off and sleep in the middle of a feed, and that's something that you do not want, because you want them to be full and then nap afterwards. Another thing is, make sure that you feed your baby in a quiet, dimly lit environment. Being relaxed makes the process much more easier for you and for baby and for everyone involved. And when you feed the baby, you need to make sure that the baby's body is facing your own body. So hold their buttocks in one hand and support their head in the crook of that elbow. Slid your other hand under the breast and also fully support it. Tickle your baby's lower lip in order to prompt their mouth to open wide. Make sure you connect with your baby. Let them know that you are going to start to nurse them. Pull the baby straight in quickly so that his or her mouth attaches to your areola, which is, we said, the dark area around the nipple. And also be sure that the whole areola is taken, and it's taken as much as possible. So if this is the first time that you're nursing, I'm very sure that when you are in the hospital, there will be a midwife coming in and teaching you what would be the right method and helping you along the way when it comes to that. Another thing is, snuggle up as close to the baby as possible. So research shows that skin to skin contact helps to increase milk flow. Also, suckling will stop when the baby is full. So basically, if you need to detach the baby from your nipple for any reason, such as to transfer to the other side or to answer the door, for example, all you have to do is just gently insert your little finger between the corner of your baby's mouth and the skin of the nipple in order to break the suction. This is super simple, but do it gently and do it carefully. So babies have a natural survival reflex. They hold on tighter if they're suddenly interrupted while suckling. So be very careful. And if you gradually break the seal between your nipple and the baby's mouth before you pull the infant away, you'll reduce tugging, which can contribute to nipple soreness, and this is super painful. So please do avoid that as much as you can. We've come towards the end of our video. I'll do a part 2. If you are interested, let me know in the comments section below. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.